Hey, what is up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all doing well. So in today's video, it is a trade recap of my best trade that I've taken for the month of October so far. And I'm honestly very proud of the way I handled the second trade opportunity, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And first, I want to talk about the first trade I'm in right now. With this trade, the idea was right. Had I just left it the way that it was supposed to be, everything would have been fine and dandy. But I let my emotional impulse take over and I acted on it. And also the psychological part of just not wanting price to come to my full stop loss definitely was things not to do. And so it was a huge lesson to learn in that moment. And that's why I'm glad when we go into the second trade, I actually left it alone and I let price do whatever it wanted to do. And it was for a full 2 hours and 15 minutes. So let's talk about the trade idea in itself and what I was looking for and why I got into the position to start. So as I mentioned for this first trade, I told you about the things that went wrong, but the idea behind it was the structure was moving clearly to the downside, right? We were having lower lows, we were having lower highs, and on the 5 minute time frame, I am just following suit with where momentum and where price wants to go. That's the first part. Very basic, there's nothing crazy about following structure. The second thing is actually incorporating my two playbooks hand in hand. So I use supply and demand as well as support and resistance. When I combine the two together and following structure, it normally is something that works for me. And especially because it's so simple, I like simple and it's just my thing. So going into my playbooks, I've shared it on my channel, I've shared it on written posts before. But essentially, what I saw here in the chart was targeting right past the 38.2 fib level on the 1 hour time frame. I wanted to have structure continue lower into that level and past it. There's some liquidity sitting there. And with the playbook, supply and demand, you'll see that there's a 5 minute supply right on the left side of my risk to reward tool. That's quite literally where my stop loss is placed. That's the top 5 minute supply. That also aligns pretty well with a previous support slash resistance. So it was creating a bunch of wicks there, indicating that there's support. As we broke below it and we were trying to come back and retest to get above it, we failed to do so, hence why my stop loss is there, because if we were to have a structure shift to go back to the upside, then I would want price to go above that to take me out and close above it for an obvious structure shift to the bullish side. So using that idea of support now becoming resistance was part of this play here. So I felt like probabilities was more on my side in this trade, hence why I re-entered it the second time. Obviously, the entry on the second time was actually a bit better in the sense of it's much higher, so I have more room for price to actually move down more, as well as allowing more breathing room for my stop loss. So with that being said, the two playbooks, they worked well hand in hand. I was following structure and I was going for the momentum play to the downside, following how we were retracing that whole 1 hour leg move. So that's the whole basis behind why I got into the short position, why I was bearish that day, why I re-entered, and yeah, so the things that went wrong, as I shared, was on the first trade, I exited when I should not have exited, and it was only based off of emotional impulse, not wanting price to come stop me out for an extra 10 or 12 points, whatever it was, even though price never did. But the things that did go right now following into the second trade opportunity, well, first, obviously, I'm letting price play out. Like, that's just it. That's the simple thing. If I want to allow my trade to breathe, and I'm going to allow it to breathe and not going to move anything. You'll start to notice as the video goes on through the end, I do start to adjust my stop loss a little bit, whether it's keeping it where it's at or bringing it lower and then realizing, oh, let me leave it back where it's at. It's just a matter of me playing with my own head again. But the best part, I would say, even throughout all of those changes and those reflection points of me moving my stop loss, I am proud of the fact that I didn't remove it. I also left it at either its original stop loss level or, I went lower with it and I was trailing it. And I'm very proud of the way that at least I handled it with leaving at least at the original being the max stop loss and not moving it any higher. So that is a win in my book. The second thing that did go right with this trade, not only with letting it breathe, but was recognizing in real time I am feeling the emotions that I was feeling. Obviously when price was coming to my TP multiple times, and it does that again, you'll notice in the next couple of minutes, it starts to move towards my TP again before it reverses back up. It's playing all these games, right? And I'm glad I didn't do any more silly things to get out of the trade or to mess around with the trade in a bad way. It really was about having confidence in my system, in the playbook, in the probabilities, in what I'm seeing, in my skills to let it do its thing, to let it play its course. So that's exactly what I did. And I think that it was a win in my book because there's been many moments in my journey where I doubt myself, and I don't feel confident, or I exit, then I enter, I exit, then I enter. And this was one of those moments where I learned the lesson immediately from the first trade that no matter what happens, I just have to let price do what it's supposed to do. The next thing that I felt that I did right in a way was recognizing the things that could go wrong in this trade. Obviously, we are having now higher lows. Obviously, again, the price is starting to push a bit higher too. It closed ever so slightly higher than the previous level on the left there. So I was recognizing that all in real time and embracing the fact that I could be wrong, accepting the fact that I could be wrong. And I guess I can tie into the next thing that I think I did right was the second I entered into the second opportunity trade here was knowing right off rip, I accept the lesson from the past trade and also I accept whatever comes with this opportunity right now. If I'm wrong, if I'm right, that's fine. And I think that really helped with the patience that I had for this trade, given it was 2 hours and 15 minutes to hold. Mind you, throughout this whole 2 hour frame, I'm doing things around the house. I'm coming to check on the trade ever so often to see if it hit yet. All these little nuggets in between. But I'd have to say I'm pretty proud of just the way that I handled it at the end of the day. And then the final thing was you'll notice it's not really anything I'm really proud of. It kind of just ties in the fact of me recognizing what could go wrong, but also what could go right. Um, I put out all these risk to reward tools because I normally go for one-to-ones as my base number. And then, if price is willing to give me more, it gives me more. Sometimes if it gives me less because I'm trailing stop, it'll give me less. But in this case, kept my stop at least to the max of where the original stop loss was or adjusted as it went down. But I used the risk to reward tool to see like, hey, if there was multiple opportunities to enter in this particular trade, does it kind of align with where liquidity is? Does it align well with where 38.2 fib level is? Does it align well with the 50% level? Like, where is price actually lining up with had I re-entered into this trade? Also, if I went long, where can it bounce up to, and would that be valid for a structure shift, hence taking me out? So there's a lot of thinking that I was going through as price was doing its thing. There was a lot of reflection I was doing. But at the end of the day, it went really well, I would say. I didn't feel as impacted as I thought that I would compared to the first trade. That first trade, as you saw, I acted off of impulse and I exited even though it never hit my stop loss to begin with. I could have never had that loss, but I had a loss because of um, exiting earlier than I should have. So this was a really great trade, and I'm just super proud of it. And I'm just glad that I made the decision to record this so that I can look back on it and remind myself, like, hey, this is what happens when you let the trade breathe. This is what happens when you just stop messing around, just lock in a bit. Not every day is going to be perfect. Not every day am I going to have a winning trade. Not every day will I have a losing trade. But at the end of the day, the main thing is to stick to what works for me and build consistency around that. And that's just kind of been my focus for the last 2 months now, and it's been pretty awesome. So here in the next minute, you'll see everything kind of slowly play out. Um, but I really do appreciate you guys for, coming into the channel, coming into this video, watching me take my trade, talk through it, and all the things that I was reflecting on. At the end of this video, I am doing a giveaway, so make sure you guys stick around to the very end if you haven't already been sticking around. The link is in the description for the giveaway too, so make sure you fill that out, do all that stuff, the steps in there, and you'll be entered. And then I'll be doing the giveaway winners within the next coming days after this video is posted. But let's watch price continue to move. I'm going to stop yapping for just a moment and let's just see it do its thing. Yeah, my chart looks kind of crazy with all the R&R tools, don't they? Yep. So here I am, finally, okay, if price moves to that bottom TP, aka where the other liquidity is, then I would feel very good about it. That's where the 4 hour liquidity was, but instead I moved stop all the way down and just allowed price when it bounced back up. It just took me out for an extra tick of profit or something like that. So that's a win in my book. So ending the video, here is the big giveaway I am hosting. It will be a total of 5 winners, 5 accounts. You see on the screen, it's going to be an Apex account of any size, 2 of the Trade Day 50K intraday evals, and then 1 of the Tradeify 50K growth. All you have to do is, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then in the description, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be a link to a form. On the form, there's some very easy steps for you to do, and then you're into the giveaway. So thank you again for all of the love and support, the advice, the tips, the hard criticism and feedback you've shared with me throughout my journey. I'm super proud for the growth that I've had, not only as a trader, but as a content creator. And it means a lot that you stuck around, or if you just barely come into the community, welcome. But make sure you guys fill out the form, get into this giveaway because it's going to be super fun. I have a lot more accounts I want to do for the rest of Q4. But as always, thank you so much for your time and support. I wish you all nothing but the best and the most success in all that you do, and I will see you all in the next video.